A 7-year-old girl sits at a dinner table in suburban Ohio. Her father is mid-sentence explaining why the family isn't getting a dog this year. She looks up, sets down her fork, and says, "Dad, I disagree. I think you haven't considered my side yet." Her father doesn't flinch. He says, "Okay, tell me." And she does. If you grew up outside the United States, that moment probably just made your jaw drop, or maybe your eye twitch. But that little girl isn't being rude. She's being trained for something most parents in the world don't even know exists. Here's what the data says. A 2019 study out of the University of Virginia, led by researcher Joseph Allen, tracked teenagers over 10 years and found that children who were encouraged to voice their opinions clearly and respectfully, from early childhood, were 40% more likely to show leadership traits, to resist peer pressure, and report lower anxiety in their early 20s. 40%. From something as simple as being told, "Your voice matters here." By the end of this video, you'll understand the 4 specific habits American parents use, starting as young as age 2, to raise children who can speak up, hold their ground, and still be kind doing it. And Lil be honest, there is one on this list that I personally still find uncomfortable to practice, even knowing the science. I'll tell you which one when we get there. Stay with me. Before you think this is too American, my culture values respect and humility. I want you to know, this is not about raising children who argue. It's about raising children who never go silent when it matters. In many homes around the world, children eat quietly, listen to adults, and speak when spoken to. That's not disrespect. It's a form of love and order. American parents do something different. They treat dinner like a practice room. They ask, "What do you think about what happened at school today?" They follow up with, "Why do you think that?" They push back gently, "I see it a little differently. What would you say to that?" This isn't chaos. It's structured dialogue, disguised as pasta night. Harvard's Center on the Developing Child has found that back-and-forth verbal exchanges between parents and children, what researchers call serve and return, what conversation literally build the architecture of the prefrontal cortex. And that's the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, emotional regulation, and self-expression. The more a child practices it at the table, the stronger those neural pathways become. Not metaphorically, physically. Name, respectful pushback. Here's what I find fascinating. American parents don't just allow disagreement, many of them actively model it. In many cultures, a parent who changes their mind after a child's argument is seen as losing authority. American parents often see it as the opposite, as teaching their child that logic matters more than rank. A child who hears, "You made a good point, I'll think about that," from a parent learns something profound, that their words have weight, that they can influence the world around them through articulation, not just volume or tears. Psychologist Diana Baumrind's foundational research on parenting styles found that children raised in authoritative homes, where rules are firm, but reasoning is invited consistently, outperformed peers in self-regulation, academic achievement, and peer relationships compared to children raised in either permissive or authoritarian environments. Picture this. Marcus is 9 years old, living in Atlanta. One day, his teacher assigns him a book report on a topic he finds boring. He walks up to her after class and says, "Ms. Johnson, I was wondering if I could propose a different book, one on the same theme." "I have 3 reasons." She says yes. Marcus didn't know he was doing anything remarkable. He'd been practicing that exact move, propose, reason, listen, since he was 4 years old. At the dinner table in his house in Atlanta, name, raising your hand as a right, not a privilege. In many classrooms around the world, children wait to be called on, stay quiet unless addressed, and avoid drawing attention. American classrooms are built around participation as expectation. Children are graded on it, praised for it, coached in it. Even introverted children are gently pushed to speak, not because silence is wrong, but because finding your voice in a safe space is the only way to have it ready when the stakes are real. Here's the thing nobody tells you. A 2021 study from Stanford's Graduate School of Education found that students who regularly practiced verbal participation in low-stakes classroom discussions showed measurably lower anxiety when facing high-pressure speaking situations, job interviews, college admissions, public arguments later in life. The classroom voice becomes the adult voice. That no is a complete sentence. This is the one I personally find hardest to practice. In many homes around the world, children are taught to comply with relatives, with elders, with adults in general as a form of respect. And there is deep cultural wisdom in that. But American parents, particularly in the last 2 decades, have started teaching children something different, that their body, their comfort, their opinion belongs to them. A child who is allowed to say, "I don't want a hug right now," even to grandma, learns something that protects them for life. That their no is real, that it means something, that adults will honor it. I want to be honest, this one isn't easy. It bumps hard against family expectations and cultural norms. And I'm not saying every family needs to do it exactly this way, but the research on consent and bodily autonomy in early childhood is difficult to ignore. Developmental psychologist David Finkelhor at the University of New Hampshire has studied child safety for decades. His research consistently shows that children who are taught early that they have authority over their own bodies are significantly better at identifying and reporting unsafe situations and more likely to tell a trusted adult when something feels wrong. So here's your one thing. Not a program, not a curriculum, just one thing you can try tonight. At dinner or bedtime, or in the car, ask your child a question you genuinely don't know the answer to. Not a quiz. A real question. What did you think about that? Or, what would you have done? And then, this is the hard part. Don't correct them. Just listen. Ask one follow-up. Let them feel what it feels like to have a thought that matters. That's it. One question. 1 week. Because the child who learns to speak clearly at your dinner table is the same child who will one day speak clearly in a boardroom, in a difficult friendship, in a moment that defines their entire life. And they'll know how. Because you gave them a place to practice. If this changed the way you see your child, subscribe. There's a lot more coming from Bloom School.